Okezie Kalu. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. I will break my presentation into three: recommendation, advice, and question. On recommendation or commendation, not recommendation, commendation, I really want to join the voices of those who have praised the executive, especially Mr. President, in achieving this back-to-back calendar of the budget. I also want to praise Mr. President for the implementation percentage achieved so far with regards to the Appropriation Act. It is quite impressive. And also the timely funding of capital projects, with the hope that by the end of this year, most capital projects of the MDAs will also be funded. I also want to commend Mr. President for the prioritization of capital releases in favor of ongoing projects like road, railways, agriculture, health, and education. And finally, on commendation, I want to thank Mr. President for the non-oil tax drive, which is at the moment aggregating at an impressive rate of 11%. And that means that we are gradually shifting to diversification of our economy, since we can make money from non-oil related area. On 2022 budget, I want to commend Mr. President for his commitment to the implementation of National Development Plan of 2021 to 2025, which has impacted on the budget positively. And it is a good introduction, a good energy, a good era for us to now go into National Development Plan, which used to be before now. We are happy that he's introducing that. I also want to thank Mr. President for the big amount allocated to health sector. Over 50 billion extra is very commendable. It shows that the impact of COVID and our reaction to it is impressive. I want to commend Mr. President also for the amount allocated to security. It shows that this government has a great intention. This is a display of a great intention of the government to fight the menace of insecurity. It's a display of that. The amount is commendable, though we will ask for more over time. Now also the 100% funding of the 2020 annual appropriation and the promise to repeat same in 2021 is something also that has helped us to escape recession that COVID took it into, because he funded 100% 2020, and there is the hope that 2021 he's going to repeat that. We escaped recession, and that is quite commendable. But this is my advice. My advice, which is coming from Ben, the federal constituency, those who elected me to be here, is that this particular budget should incorporate the impact of climate change, on our environment. The environmental degradation that is happening, the desertification that is happening in the north, the erosions that is happening around the southeast. This budget should be very serious about that. But I want to use this opportunity also to thank Mr. President for the ecological fund intervention in my own federal constituency, where ecological need was carrying people, flood was carrying people away in Mpa Umimenyi. Mr. President, through the Office of Ecological Fund, intervened, which shows that all this money we are borrowing, some of them are being directed to infrastructural development to the benefit of this country. My second advice is that in order for us to achieve the industrialized Nigeria that we are looking for, the intent and the purpose, the objective of setting up, privatizing this energy sector is not being achieved. Currently, this power sector that we have done privatization, they are not doing a good job.
Honorable Ben, you have already spent 4 minutes.
Yes, 2 more minutes and I'll be done, sir. Thank you. Also, I want to advise that the benchmark of $57 per barrel is too low. I am advising that we push it between 63 and 65 so that we can achieve more for the nation. Also, I'm concerned about the daily projection of production of crude, which is at 1.88 million per day. Yes, though we may agree that that is the way it's supposed to be, but let's remember that 300 to 400 million is uncondescent. And NMPC need to sit up in the sense that the issue of the data saying our consumption rate is at the level that is being mentioned at 160 million per day, liters per day, is not logical. Nigerian consumption at the moment, we have been made to understand, is 60 million liters per day. When you talk about this amount of consumption and the neighboring states, when you look at Niger Republic and other neighboring countries around us, to truck 1 million liters away from Nigeria, nobody can do that in a day. So to tell us that we are spending 160 million is something that is actually very debatable. Finally, and this concerns the House. It concerns the House because the statutory transfer, as we have mentioned, there's an increase from 484.49 billion to 768.28 billion. And that is a reflection of 58% increase, 58.7 to be exact. An increase of about 283.79 billion. Do you know that this increase does not reflect on the amount that comes to National Assembly? But remember, when there was a lower aggregate, we had a budget with lower aggregate expenditure. It was reduced from 150 billion to 128 billion. Though we have the challenges of our forex and the challenges of the purchasing power of the currency, why are we remaining on 134 billion? Do you know what 134 billion represents against the percentage of the statutory transfer? Let me give you this example. In 2019, we had 125 billion given to the e-nass, and that is at the level of 1.42% of the 8.83 trillion. 1.4, emphasis on 1.42%. In 2020, we had 128 billion given to National Assembly, and that was a reduction from 1.42 to 1.18% of that 10.8 trillion. In 2021, we were given 134 billion to e-nass, which now represents 0.98% of the 13.1 trillion. But this year, we are giving 134 billion again, which is now representing 0.82%. It ought not to be so. The National Assembly...
Thank you.